Good morning, beloveds. Both of the boys are in here today. Foster is on the hot pad, and Chico is on the edge of the couch, not on the hot pad, but in the sunbeam. So, all right, let's see. It was supposedly 31 when we went out for the walk, and I really enjoy the colder weather. It seems to be better for my joints. That being said, next week there's a day we might not even get into the 30s. It's going to drop into the 20s and may stay in the 20s. And I'm like, not super excited about that. So, all right, it is January 10th. Our title is God's Constancy. And our author is Imelda Octavia Shanklin from Selected Studies, 1926. And this is from Unity. All right. God does not change. God cannot change. If change were possible to God, our efforts to approach God in character would be illogical and superfluous. Superfluous. You know what word I mean. The emotional person is a creature of changes, and to think of God as also being variable would make existence take on a nature of a fantastic dance, a world of shadows, leaping and wavering in imitation of a master shadow. Prayers would be of no avail. Faith would be of no avail. Works would be of no avail. For if God were of one mind yesterday and another mind today, by what adroitness of mental legerdemain could we hope to catch up with God's mood of tomorrow? In whatever study we make of God, it is imperative that we remember the constancy of nature. With the truth immovable, fixed in us, we can meet all the changes in phenomena and be unchanged by them. We can face all the fluctuations of the emotions and remain serene in the consciousness that the emotions may vary, but that in the mind of God, but that the mind of God in us never does. Woof. Okay. She used some big words. Words that I'm not sure are real words. Or just words that I'm not familiar with. And I love words. I love words. I won the English award 4 years straight in high school. I love words. I love to read. So, one of the things that New Thought is based on is that God does not change. The other one is that God does not judge. And the reason that God does not judge is because there is nothing outside of God. To judge, something has to be separate, and nothing is outside of God. So God cannot judge, which is kind of the same thing with God does not change. God continues to work exactly the same way every time. Okay? God is... Now, the interesting thing about that is while God continues to work in the same way, the results are varied. But that's the way it is with creation. So God does the same process, but gets different things every time. That's why there's so many different us's. God continues to have a different experience through each and every one of us. But God continues to have experiences through us. That is what is changeless. The experiences we get to have. And that's one of the things where with emotions, God doesn't have emotions because emotions are variable, changeable. That is something that we have, not God. Okay. So to become a new thought, one of the things that we are tasked to give up is the idea of God as an old man sitting in a chair. Okay. Now, think about it this way. An old man in a chair with a book, right? Think about it this way. So I'm not even sure I call it a guilty pleasure. Although sometimes I'm ashamed to admit how much I love the show. I love Ancient Aliens. Not because I buy their theories, because they take you to fantastic places and show you fantastic things. Because humans have done wild things all over the earth across time. But I was watching a show about the Greek gods. Okay? Now, I now have two theories about the Greek gods. One of the theories, well, technically, I guess I have three theories about the Greek gods. One of the theories about probably the most sane and stable is when you deal with humans, God is too big. So we neatly package God down into little bitty parcels that we can deal with. Okay, we try and limit God. We are not capable of limiting God, but we are capable of limiting our experience of God. Therefore, so that's probably the most reasonable for the Greek gods. The second one is the Greek gods are just blown up human beings. Okay, they're just blown up human beings. They have all of the flaws and foibles and emotions that humans have. Why would you want a God like that? Okay. I don't want a God that might decide today he doesn't like the way my hair looks and decides to throw a thunderbolt at me. I don't want that. Okay. And then according to ancient aliens, Greek gods were aliens. Which is why they took sides and this, that, and the other. And they didn't actually have supernatural powers. They had weapons, specifically manufactured weapons that were, what does he call it? Misunderstood technology. So, which honestly, when I was listening to when I was watching the show and listening to this theory, I was like, you know what? That makes way more sense than the Greek gods being gods. Because they are so human and yet not. I'm like, so do I want to buy that Greek gods are alien? No, I don't. No, I don't. But it makes for a good story, right? And humans inevitably are storytellers. And because we tell stories and because we are extraordinarily changeable and we love nothing more than changing our stories, then our story about God changes all the time. God does not change ever. And our stories cannot change God. But it can change our experience of God. And so that's one of the things that we want to bear in mind when we are dealing with God. Our stories about God will change. Our experience of God will change. God will never change. Now, God's not like a vending machine, although to some degree, I hesitate to use it. What you put into it is what you get out of it. And that's the way it is. But that's the way it is with any relationship. What you put into the relationship is what you're going to get out of the relationship. So, but that is one of the things, because there are a whole lot of people who are looking at God and believing that God is just a blown up version of humans. And you wonder why that is so terrifying, why God is so terrifying. Okay? Because the literal example of God just decides that he doesn't like my hair today and he's going to smite me with his thunderbolt. I'm talking about Zeus or Jupiter. Jupiter's the Roman version. So, God's not going to do that. Honestly, God's not going to notice my hair. The only way God will notice my hair is if I do. Because then I'm God having an experience of my hair. God's not going to smite me about that. So, when you can take all of that off of your experience of God, God becomes a whole lot safer. Okay? Because God is consistent. God doesn't change. The sun comes up every morning. Now, eventually the sun will not. Our sun will not. But somewhere there's a sun coming up. Because that is the natural process. And life goes on. Life continues to create itself and to expand in all of these amazing different ways. That spark of life that then grows into who knows what. That's God. And at the very core of it, love. I hesitate to call love an emotion. Because love is a noun and love is a verb and love is a power, and that is God. Love love and life and harmony and peace and joy and creativity. That's God. And God is so much more than that. But in our limited material existence, which we choose, in our limited human experience, in our limited human existence, we can't conceptualize all of God. Okay? But what we can know is that God doesn't change. God works exactly the same way every time, always. And if we can accept that, because she's right, why pray to a God who might choose not to answer you? Well, the good news is God always answers you. You may not get the answer you expect, but that comes down to you. That comes down to your relationship with God, which is why it's extraordinarily important that you have a regular spiritual practice where you work on your relationship with God. Okay? God is always working on God's relationship with you because you're living. All right? It's our responsibility to work on our relationship with God. God knows us in and out. In this limited material experience, we get the joy of discovering our relationship with God, which is the point of a regular spiritual practice. All right. When I read that title, I didn't know where I was going to go with it. But that's one of the things that New Thought, and it was a conversation that I had with a friend of mine, Mioke. She is an archbishop in the Nichiren Buddhists. If you want to look them up, they're the noisy Buddhists. That's what they call themselves, the noisy, because they use drums. When she went into the Buddhist training, one of the things that she said was she had to give up the fluffy image of God. Okay, she didn't have to give up Jesus, but she had to give up the fluffy image of God. She had to recognize that God is everything, but to give up the warm fuzzies. Okay, we get to keep Jesus for that. And if you were raised Catholic like I was, all of the saints, and recognize that God is a power that we interact with, that we live. And that was the hardest thing for her, because I forget what she grew up, because she was Science of Mind with us for a lot. And maybe being Science of Mind made it easier for her, because in Science of Mind, yeah, we gave up the warm fuzzy God too. We recognize that God is more than we think, but we still recognize the power of love. So, I mean, if you want your warm fuzzies there. But we also gave up the damning, judging man with the book, and which makes your relationship, it can make your relationship with God that much safer, because you are no longer dealing with a power that could decide they don't like your hair that day. You are no longer dealing with a power that judges you. You are no longer dealing with a power that, if you make one wrong move, will send you to hell. What you are dealing with is life. And it doesn't mean that life isn't hard. And, it doesn't mean that life can't be hard. And it doesn't mean that life isn't uncomfortable, but it means that we can do something about it, because it's not God putting us in that position. It could be other people. So, I'm not blaming you if you are having a tough time, if things are going on. But in that case, what you're dealing with is people who have forgotten who they are. They have forgotten that they are beloved children of God. They have forgotten that you are a beloved child of God. And they are acting out. That's not God. God is not doing that. What God wants is for those people to remember who they are. For all of us to remember who we are and act like it. That's all God wants. But there's that free will thing. So when I run across people who have forgotten who they are, who are behaving badly, who make my life difficult, it is up to me to remember that I am a beloved child of God, to act like it, to remember that they are a beloved child of God, and to treat and hold space for them to remember that. Do I do it 100% of the time? No. But I try. And I'm getting better at it. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. What are you doing, you goofball? All right, the mission today, should you choose to accept it, I would suggest taking that idea of God's constancy into meditation. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? Do you see where I say that it makes God safe? People's interpretations of God are not safe. God is. See what it means to you. See what it means to you. All right, beloveds. The other mission I'm going to give you is the same mission I give you every day. Do something loving for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Be it one thing, be it three things, be it all things. Ideally, that's the end goal, to have everything that you do be loving, kind, and compassionate. Which means the hard stuff too, because we can do the hard stuff lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. And if we can't, we have no business doing them. All right. My favorite one is to take a deep breath before you speak. You can't take words back that have been spoken. And it's easier to not say them than to make amends later. Especially to yourself. Especially to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Take that deep breath. Listen to your self-talk. And if your self-talk is less than positive, maybe dig into that. Take a walk, take a nap, take a break. Those are my 3 basic suggestions. There are far more than that. I'm just giving you a jumping off point and reminding you to be loving, kind, and compassionate with yourself. I'm going to remind you that no, especially to something that is draining to you, that is a loving, kind, and compassionate thing. Yes, can be a loving, kind, and compassionate thing, especially if it pushes you a little out of your comfort zone. And I will remind you that no is a complete sentence. You do not owe anyone any explanation beyond no. All right. If you choose to, that's up to you. And I say that knowing with women that frequently we are forced to give explanations to our no's, but someday. All right. Yes, you are beautiful. You are beautiful and I love you. He's just sitting here purring. Chico is. Foster gave up on me. Where was I? Loving, kind, compassionate. Yeah. Eat dessert first, which means don't save the good stuff. Okay. Don't wait for a special occasion. Make the occasion special. Enjoy being a quality of God is a quality of you as well. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you still deserve joy. Please make room for it. All right. The rest of the suggestions are basic, easy self-care. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you today. I went for a frosty morning walk and it was good. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. It's extra important during the peak of the summer and the height of the winter, when that heat is running all the time. It is dehydrating and you don't think about it as much. Your brain works better, your body works better, your skin looks better when you are well hydrated. Drink plenty of water. Get that early in your morning bright light, early in your day bright light. I say from 7 to 9 because science says that 5 to 10 minutes of the sunlight between 7 and 9 is the best for you if you're going to get sunshine. All right. If that's out of your schedule, then please definitely use artificial light. It will help. What we are trying to do is reset our circadian rhythms. If you need more support than the light in your house is giving you, Google sun lamp or seasonal effect disorder lamps. Okay. At this point, I think you can just buy a light bulb. You can screw in a lamp you already have. But they can be very, very helpful. I've been diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder. I understand how important sunlight is. So, right. Okay. And then I guess I'm at the part where I do my Ernest Holmes quote, open the windows of your soul, allow the breath of heaven to remind you you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Because it's a state of mind. It is not a locality, as Ernest Holmes likes to say. It's not a locality that we have to get to. It's not a place we have to get to. It's a mindset. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Once we learn to create it for ourselves, nobody can take it away from us. All right? Then any place can become heaven. And who wouldn't want that? And when you can walk around in a heavenly mindset, and everybody can walk around in a heavenly mindset, it means that we all recognize that we are children of God and we treat each other better. So, you want a world that works for everybody? That's how we get there. And one of the best ways to start that journey towards that mindset, look for the good and praise it. Emma Curtis Hopkins is right. It is the most basic thing that we can do. It is the easiest thing we can do. We can count our blessings. Look for the good and praise it. Okay? That is one of the fastest ways to change your mood and your mind. Okay. I'm at the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I encourage you to go and to like and follow and subscribe, depending on which one you're on, and then share. We want to bump our algorithms as much as we can. So the more that you can, liking helps, sharing helps, saving helps, all of that, because we think we have, really a good message and we want more people to see it. And so that's how we do that. So please do that. The YouTube channels, there are hours of content on both of them, including on both YouTube channels, the Creative Life Spiritual Center and the Running Rev Ryan. This Thing Called You, which is my favorite Ernest Holmes book, is on that on both sites. I read it to you because I found out there wasn't an Audible copy and I'm like, this is wrong. It's an amazing book. So there's an Audible copy. If you don't have time to read or don't like to read, I read it to you. And I think in chapter 14, there's 1 minute where you actually get to hear my cats have a little bit of a scuffle. So that's always exciting. And there's no commentary. I just read the book to you. So go for it. All right. And if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That gets you on the constant contact. 1 email a week and the hot links are hot. Okay. Yeah, I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a Wednesday, a middle of the week day, a get stuff done day, a take it easy day, a rest day, a sunny day. It's sunny here. A bundle up day, a get prepared for the weather day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. You are a divine spark, a brilliant light. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right? Know the truth of your being. If you don't know the truth of your being, which is the point of spiritual practice, explore the truth of your being. Pull back the layers of everything you have been told you are. By society, by culture, by religion, by gender normatives, by stereotypes, by archetypes, by people that love you, by people that don't know you, by ad executives, by marketing executives, by social media. Peel all that away and get to know who God knows you to be. Because I can promise you that the person God knows you to be is good. All right? Get to know that person. Okay, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.